presentation, can anyone describe what is the process of innovation development? What are the steps? Anyone?
Hello,
Yeah, please go ahead.
ma'am. I'm Ajay Kumar Chobe.
Yeah.
Ma'am, first step will be idea generation or define the problem. Hello.
Define the problems. Yeah.
First, ma'am, first step will be idea generation from any problem,
Mm-hmm.
and then some of the pilot project development, and after that validation, and maybe last commercialization after
Okay.
patent.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah.
Madam,
Mm.
I'm Prabhakar, madam. In my view, innovation means nothing but uh, recognizing a problem and solve it. That's it.
Mr. Pravakar and all the participants, I want you to pay attention to what I'm speaking. I'm asking about the process of innovation development. I didn't ask about innovation. I wanted to know about the whole process in your mind. What is the whole process? So, can you now answer the process? Can you describe the process? Yeah, please.
Ma'am, I think what we did,
improvements
uh,
in
Sorry.
yeah, what I think is that probably we should be having an idea at first,
Okay.
uh, an idea, and then a proposal, basically a plan of action, which I have.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Largely,
Okay.
the idea should be more innovative,
Mm.
something which is unique, which is not already in the industry,
Mm.
uh, uh, and uh, and I should have an idea about what should be the resources for that,
Mm.
what is the capital for that,
Right.
and what would be the outcome of it.
Okay. Wonderful. Is there anybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Innovation.
process of innovation development includes continuous improvement of whatsoever your idea is, or
One
Yeah,
at a
and
time, please.
इनोवेशन डेवलपमेंट से मतलब आप क्या करना चाहते हैं। सबसे पहले आपके दिमाग में वो आइडिया होना चाहिए कि आप क्या इनोवेट करना चाहते हैं, आप क्या मार्केट में लेकर आना चाहते हैं। देन उसके बाद यू शुड हैव द फुल द मार्केट सर्वे होना चाहिए कि आपके इनोवेशन का मार्केट में कितना पोटेंशियल है, किसको आपके इस आइडिया की कितनी ज़रूरत है। जब आप ये स्टेप
Mhm. The need of your idea or
हाँ जी
product.
मैम,
Okay.
जब आप ये स्टेप कंप्लीट
Yeah.
कर लेते हैं देन यू शुड आपको प्रॉपर उसका एक डाटा होना चाहिए। उस डाटा को आप अपने किन लोगों के साथ जाके डिस्कस कर सकते हैं, कहाँ से आपको हेल्प मिल सकती है, वेदर इट इज़ फाइनेंशियल और एडवाइजरी लेवल पे। जैसे हम एनसीआईडी जैसे हम अभी अटेंड कर रहे हैं, आपके पास आके डिस्कस कर सकते हैं, दिस इज़ माय इनोवेशन, माय आइडिया, आई वांट टू ब्रिंग इट इन द मार्केट। उसके बाद आपको ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज आप कहाँ से कैसे किस फील्ड से किस लेवल से लेकर आ सकते हैं। देन यू शुड गो
Mm-hmm.
फॉर द लीगल प्रोसेस की तरफ। अगर आपने स्टार्ट कर दिया है तो आपको पेटेंट लेना है, कंपनी फॉर्म करनी है, वट एवर दिस इज। मैंने कल
Right.
यही समझा इस सेशन से।
Wonderful. So let us uh, start. Is my PPT visible to all of you?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So you have given, all of you have given very good answers. So this is something which I've taken from the literature, and this is a list of 5 steps, and there could be 7 steps also, but for a general understanding, I have taken this. The first step, as many of you have said, is idea generation and mobilization. So we will attempt to understand what terms mean. The second one is advocacy and screening. The third one is experimentation. The fourth one is commercialization. And the fifth one is the diffusion and implementation. So what is the first step? The first step is idea generation and mobilization. So as you know, in the idea generation step, new ideas are created. In fact, yesterday Dr. Jyotsna had explained the process of ideation and through design thinking, right? I hope you remember the process, the steps of design thinking. We will briefly go through it in this presentation also. So you need to ideate, you need to create new ideas at the first step. And the second step is known as mobilization. What does mobilization mean and why mobilization is important? So, you might have a very good idea, but you should have the right people appreciate it and use it or take it up, and you should be at the right time. So right people at the right time must know about your idea. That is mobilization. Now, just to give you an example, Thomas Edison is credited with the invention of the light bulb. It's not that he suddenly invented it one day, but there were people working before him also, and there are people who are working after him also. But he patented the idea, and he did a lot of experiments to come with the first workable prototype of the incandescent light bulb. And for that, he used a filament. It's called a carbon filament. It's a specialized filament, not just made of carbon that you can imagine. It has a lot of technology to it. But he invented it in 1878. But the incandescent bulb that you see now, LED bulb has come, but before that, there were incandescent light bulbs. So that light bulb became popular only in 1910 because in the place of the carbon element, the tungsten filament was used. So the tungsten filament was invented in 1910. So only after that came into the market, this idea of the light bulb clicked, and it reigned the market for almost 100 years. So the dependency was, Mr. Edison's dependency was on the other person who had invented the tungsten filament to make this invention popular. So that is very important. You have to understand this concept. Okay, I will give in this chat box a very nice link, the history of the light bulb, and you should go through it. There are many things related to this concept that you will understand. That today I'm talking about technology readiness levels. So the next step is advocacy and screening. So, it's not necessary that every idea is worth implementing. It has to go through a special process. So, advocacy and screening, these help evaluate an idea and help measure its potential benefits and any problems that the idea may face when it is going through that journey from idea to startup. So you have to screen out all the risks before your idea can reach the market. So essentially, in this step, you are estimating the feasibility of your idea. Is your idea worth taking to the market? Will it survive? Is it doable actually? Feasibility means, is your idea worth carrying out practically? So this is that step. So for this, you have to take care of certain things. One of our participants have generally outlined this thing, feasibility of the business idea. So what you have to do is you have to identify some people who can form a core team. It is very difficult to work on your own when you are in this journey. So you have to have a few people who are passionate about your idea and who are interested in your idea and want to be a part of your team. So you need to have a team. 2-3 people can constitute your team. The next one is the target market. You have to thoroughly research your market. Who are your customers? Very, very important. For whom are you going to make that product or offer your service? This is, research is very important for your target audience, for your customers. And also you have to identify if you have a product and you want to take it to the market, are there similar products? And if so, what are their costs? So you have to identify the competitors and their costs also. You have to know your competitors. Who are they? Where are they coming from? What are they doing? How they go about doing the business? This is very important. Again, it will help you. You have to carry out research from various available sources, publicly. Then you have to assess your technical feasibility, the feasibility of the idea at the technical level. I mean, you have to find out how you're going to construct your product, the methods that you will use to develop your product, to make your product and refine it, the methods, and also the resources that would be needed to develop your product or your to provide the services. So that the technical part has to be taken care of. Then you have to track your financial feasibility. Uh, you have to basically identify the economic viability. Will the product sell in the market? Will you receive the estimated amount from the sales of your product? That is what you have to assess. uh, you have to think about so many costs, different kind of costs that will go into creating your product, and then based on that you have to do the costing of your product and see if you can recover that amount. Then you have to make a risk assessment plan. Now this is very, very important because investors always look at the risks involved when they invest in your product. Okay, so you have to have a risk assessment plan. So what goes into risk assessment plan? First of all, you have to identify the potential risks. I mean, in terms of what? In terms of the method of developing a product, or the resources that you method. For example, you need certain machinery for manufacturing your product. Is it available, or if do you have to buy it from some place? There could be some other things like packaging material, etc., which, for that you have to collaborate with other companies, and you have to ensure the steady supply. And suppose there is something which stops them from supplying you, that could be a risk. So there are many different kinds of risks associated. I'm just giving an example. You will know what there could be a number of risks. You have to identify those potential risks. Then you can spot the areas where the plan can be harmed. Uh, there are so many dimensions to it. Then you create a list of precautions that you will take to overcome those harm, the risks. And then when you have assessed all these risks, then you start implementing it. You have to have a plan B for certain things, like that. And then keep reviewing that plan. So that will oil your machinery very well. And the final one is the investment seeking strategy. How will you attract investment for your product? So for that, the first thing that is said is that SWOT analysis means you do an analysis of your business idea. You determine the strengths of your idea, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats. So there is a certain way of doing a SWOT analysis of your business idea. This is beyond the scope of today's talk. So, but first of all, you have to do the SWOT analysis of your business idea. So then, you can prepare your financial projections over a period of time, see if they are scalable. So that will help in attracting investment. And you have to indicate the profitable level also, profitability part of your plan. So these all come at a later stage, but these are the things that you have to keep a list of. Now, if you have carefully thought about these things, then that ensures that your idea has a future. So you can understand now, you have to plan at such a deep level when you are undertaking the journey from your idea to startup. So advocacy and screening. The next one is experimentation, as the word suggests. You have to test the sustainability of your idea, meaning you have to see that your idea actually works and is sustainable over the a long duration of time. Uh, so there is a certain process that you have to follow in experimentation. Usually there is a requirement of a lab, but laboratory doesn't mean the traditional kind of laboratory that you see in your colleges or schools or uh, CSR or other such labs. It could be your kitchen also. It could be your drawing room, living room also, where you can set up something to experiment and to uh, find evidence of, because essentially you will be doing science, and science is always knowledge that is based on evidence. So essentially you'll be creating evidence that your idea works. That is experimentation. The next one is commercialization. So what does commercialization mean? Commercialization means that you develop the market value of your idea. What value does your idea have when you take it to the market? That is commercialization. And what is it based upon? It is based upon the impact that it has on your customers. So um, what you do here is you take your prototype, go out in the market and demonstrate it to the customers, would be potential customers. You say, okay, this has got this benefit, this is much better than what you're already using, such things, and demonstrate it. And the idea is to persuade the customer to buy your idea prototype. That is called commercialization. And then you take the feedback also in this step, that what do they think about your prototype. It could be spread over a time of a few months actually. This, so everything takes time. So this is what it is all about. And so this is the time when you develop your business plan. In fact, you will have to have a unique proposition. What is unique about your product? You have to show it at this stage. And the fifth one is diffusion and implementation. Yesterday, a participant was talking about the acceptance of the idea. So nobody, actually, it's not easy for people to accept any new idea at the first glance. One has to convince. So diffusion is essentially the acceptance of an innovative idea among people, be it management or customers, the market, the public. That is called diffusion. And there is a theory also, Everett Rogers theory of diffusion. So there are 5 kinds of people, and early adopters are there who are very happy to see a new thing, and there are laggards who will take a lot of time to understand and accept any innovation at both ends of the spectrum. Now, for this, you have to have a whole plan with you, an implementation plan, where you have to think about the resources that are needed to develop your idea, a marketing plan, and a strong advocacy of your innovative product. Means you have to advertise, you have to advocate for your idea. You have to be very strong with that. So these are the 5 stages, and which I have described. I hope it is clear to you. Can anybody confirm that? Is it clear? All the 5 steps?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what I am attempting to do now is I will map this concept with design thinking that Dr. Jyotsna explained yesterday. So can anybody quickly review about what is design thinking? What are the stages of design thinking? What are the stages of design thinking? Anyone? Yeah.
Ma'am, first step is empathy. Second is
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
problem statement. Third is
Hmm.
alternate. Fourth is uh, prototype, and fifth is testing.
Hmm.
Thinking is
Testing.
iterative
Great.
process.
Hmm. Okay. Wonderful. So these are the 5 stages of design thinking. The first one is empathize. In this stage, what you do is you research into what your user needs. When you're designing a product, an innovative idea, you have to look at what your users or customers need. So this is empathize, and you know the process, right? How you go about uh, this process. So the second one is define. Now, the define stage is where you actually define what you are going to do. Somebody's mic is on. Can you please mute? Okay. So in the define stage, you have to define your problem statement. What problem are you going to solve? This is very important. You are not defining your solution. You are defining the problem that you're going to solve. Now, since you have done the empathize step earlier, your definition of the problem statement should also reflect that empathy. So, when you define your problem statement, you have to define it from the point of view of your user. You're not going to define it from your viewpoint or your company's viewpoint, okay? Because it is human centric. So, for example, suppose you own a very high end international school and you want to do something for the economically weaker children. So you should not define the problem as your own wish, like we need to increase the gross enrollment ratio of the economically weaker children in the schools. The problem statement should not read like we need to increase the gross enrollment ratio of the economically weaker children in the schools. Rather, it would read as
Mr. Reddy, please. Yeah, thank you.
it should read as it should be from the point of view of the economically weaker students. Okay, so what is that viewpoint? It would be economically weaker children need to receive quality education in order to develop into holistic individuals who can improve their own lives as well as contribute to the development of the society. Okay, this is that statement. And then you start working on it. So the next step would be to ideate how to bring them into your high-end international school. How will you do that? For that, you have to create ideas, and there's so many tools to ideate, like brainstorming, brainwriting, Scamper, etc. The next step is the prototype. So after you have ideated, you have to create solutions. So you prepare an inexpensive, scaled down model of what you want to actually develop. Okay, this is called a prototype. And then you test it out. You take the prototype and go to your target customers and see if it really works, if it is accepted, and you test its reliability, you test its sustainability, and again keep improving. So these are the 5 design thinking stages. So here is an exercise I wanted to map, because why I want to map is that there are so many concepts on innovation, and there is an overlap between these the kind of concepts. So this is just an exercise for you to understand the interrelationships between the different concepts. Okay, so can anybody say, can anybody give me this design thinking step or steps for the idea generation and mobilization? What are the design thinking steps? Anybody? So there are 5 steps of design thinking. what steps would fit into idea generation and mobilization? Yeah, please.
One cannot take decision on design. One
Sorry?
cannot take a decision in inventing a new problem.
Mm-hmm.
There must be some means of team discussion and record ideas while going to innovate something. The innovation, the review of the ideas between the people is very important in renovation. Estimation of the business also is very important. Estimation of the business, how much volume we have to produce, and the market position, and everything we have to discuss in detail.
Yeah.
Next, a strategy must be evaluated between them, and it must be applied in the innovation of products in business improvement. That is my idea. That is my idea. If the product is not feasible, it should be it should be, if the product is outdated, then the mm, the innovation must be stopped, and a new innovation may be created by group discussion only. That is my point.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so now here I am asking a different question. I'm asking you that now that you know about the innovation development process and you know about the design thinking steps. So which design thinking step would fall into that particular step of innovation development? So anybody?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Good morning. This is Vivekanand. So
Yes.
I think so. To the first one, the empathize things. Can we put that in that first step?
Mm-hmm.
So
Empathize.
as
Okay.
yeah, that is my thought actually. We can put that because in that we have to think about the the perspective of the problem. मतलब वो क्या है वो क्या नहीं. तो वो in that case we can put that one as a ideal generation and the mobilization step.
Okay. Good. Anybody else? What about 2, 3, 4, 5? It's okay. I mean, you can just, based on your understanding till now, you can say, you can answer. Otherwise, that's okay. We are
Diffusion and implementation for test.
test. Okay.
Ma'am,
Good.
I think
So anyway,
Design.
idea
yeah.
generation can be done at all levels. I think, ma'am, hello, am I audible?
All levels. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
May I speak?
Audible.
Yeah, ma'am,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Go
think,
ahead.
in my opinion, this idea generation can be done at all levels of design thinking.
You're right. Right. Okay, good. So let us move on because we have so many other things to cover. So what I have done is a little exercise and I will explain. Okay. Now, first of all, this is not a very rigid classification. Okay. Now, as somebody said just now, idea generation can have all the steps of design thinking, or idea generation can be a part of all the 5 steps in innovation development process also. But just so that you don't get confused, mostly these steps are for these levels. Okay. This is an exercise so that you understand the interrelationships between the concepts. Let's move on. Now I will talk about technology readiness level, the second part of today's talk. So till now, I hope whatever I have explained is clear to you. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the talk. So now we'll move on to technology readiness level. So can anybody tell me what do you understand by technology? What is your definition of technology? Yes.
Anything which uses machines, human efforts towards improving the productivity or for raising the commercial gains. That should be technology, which can be machines, which can be artificial intelligence, which can be communication, anything which aids the humans, ma'am.
Okay. Aids the human. Okay. Anybody else?
Madam, technology, I think it is a scientific utilization of your resources, or we can say the optimum utilization of the resources one should have, so that what we ideate, it should be successfully implemented.
Application part.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good. Anybody else?
Hello.
Yes.
I think it is an interface with other resources. It can be your electronic
Mm-hmm.
or the artificial intelligence, which is very trendy now.
Mm-hmm. No, you were giving examples. I wanted the definition.
Okay.
It's okay. No problem. You know it. Let's move on to the answer. So there are two basic components, as some of you have said, to technology. One is the knowledge, and is the application of that knowledge. Now you have to expand the definition of the knowledge and application. So the knowledge is the technique, and the application is the knowledge which is applied to do that particular thing. When you apply that knowledge to produce, to make your product. Now, when we are talking about technology, we are not just talking about the physical product, like the machine or the thing, but the knowledge behind it also, isn't it? Like, for example, it has the physical component, which comprises of the products, the tools, equipments, blueprints, techniques, and processes, and also the informal component, which consists of the know-how, the knowledge, like the knowledge about the management aspects, marketing aspects, the commercial aspect, that is the production aspect, quality control, and such things. So technology is a combination of knowledge and application in a very big dimension, different dimensions. So now let's move on to the technology readiness levels. So what is the use, first of all, of technology readiness? Why is it there in the first place? The technology readiness level is like, so when you go through different stages of your innovation, right from the idea to the startup to the market, you need to understand them. You need to understand where you are, so that you can plan the next steps. So the technology readiness levels indicate the maturity of your innovation, at what stage your product is or what stage your process is. So that is the indicator. So they describe your product at that particular stage. So essentially, the TRLs, or technology readiness levels, they facilitate the general understanding of the technology maturity status. It was initially developed by NASA to understand the level of maturity of this spacecraft, design of the spacecraft. You can read it up. So TRL's technology readiness levels are abbreviated as TRL, and they are based on a scale from 1 to 9, and 9 is the most mature technology when it is implemented, and 1 is the basic idea that you have. Now, the most important thing here is that you have to understand that when you move from your basic idea to the implementation of the technology, it's a long process. It can take years, it can take 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years also. So this is one very, very important consideration that you should have in your mind. You keep it in your mind. Now let us go to the technology readiness levels that have been described. Here, this is the TRL the definition given by the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, or the MIC. And this is important to you because you might need to sometimes apply to the MIC for different competitions that they hold from time to time, or even support, even for funding support also. So you need to know what these are. So as you can see here, the TRL at the TRL1 is the basic idea. TRL2 is when the concept is developed. TRL3 is the experimental proof of the concept. TRL4 is a laboratory demonstration. TRL5 is a laboratory scale validation, which is called the early prototype. TRL6 is the prototype demonstration. TRL7 is the capability validated on economic runs. TRL8 is the capability validated over a range of parts. And TRL9 is the capability validated over full range of parts over long periods. So let us look at the detailed description of each level. So here, I have taken an example to make you better understand the concept of technology readiness levels vis-a-vis the different stages of the maturity of a technology. So can anyone say what is this?
Tea bag, madam.
Tea bag. Oh. So can you say something more about this tea bag? Anyone?
It's a tea bag with a very contrast color of
Is the bag having a color?
It is used to be
blank label of green color.
White paper.
Tea leaves in
Okay.
white.
It is used to make tea or coffee or tea. Sorry, tea.
Tea.
Its usages I'm trying to talk about.
Yeah.
So one, it's a tea bag.
Yes.
And it can be used for making tea. And in tea in different forms, with milk, without milk, or whatever. And the residual, and just my knowledge, I'm saying, can be used as a like a manure in small plants in the house. That's how we use it.
Okay. Anybody else? Can you give me? Yes.
Hello.
Well,
Am I
so,
audible?
yes.
Yeah, one by one, please. Yeah.
या मैम जैसे कि हमें सभी को दिखाई दे रहा है इट्स अ टी बैग बट फर्स्ट थिंग जो इट अट्रैक्ट्स मी जो इसका जो ग्रीन कलर का जो पार्ट है कोई भी हम टी बैग देखेंगे तो उसकी कंपनी में जो नॉर्मली थोड़ा वाइट कलर या फिर सॉफ्ट कलर्स में होता है बट व्हाट दे हैव यूज्ड इट्स स्ट्राइकिंग कलर वेरी जो डिफरेंट अलग से ही नजर आ रहा है ग्रीन कलर में शायद वो सबसे ज्यादा अट्रैक्ट कर रहा है इस टी बैग में एंड दिस में बी इन्वेंटेड विद की ज़रूरत हमें इसको इन्वेंट करने की क्यों लगी जो मे बी इस कह सकते हैं कि एक दूसरी तरह लेवल पे जा रही हूँ मैं कि जो चाय के जो शौकीन हैं उन लोगों को अगर रास्ते में चाय पीना है करना है दे आर नॉट अवेलेबल जो इसलिए शायद इस टी बैग को इस तरह से इन्वेंट करने की कोशिश करी है कि आप इस रास्ते में भी कहीं भी किसी भी स्टेट में किसी भी जगह पे किसी भी टाइम पे आपको अवेलेबल हो सकता है और आप चाय का लुफ्त ले सकते हैं शायद इस तरह से इसको इन्वेंट करने की कोशिश करी गई है इसी के पीछे ये पर्पस रहा होगा
Okay. Very good. Can somebody tell me what are the different parts of the tea bag?
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's two different types of tea bags. This one, which is a very small, and the reason behind it is its content level of the company, and it contains a small, like size that it will not allow the tea to go out, only the water or the tea stains that will go out, so that you cannot chuck the dust of the tea. And there is another one, which if you put it inside the tea, you have to put it all. You just have to open it all and put the tea inside, meaning it don't have this type of label. It's contained inside leather, or something like that.
So I'm asking, what are you seeing in this picture? What are the different parts of this tea bag?
Here I'm seeing the small tea bag label and the tea container.
Container. What is that
Yes,
made of?
it's made of a small, can I call it, not leather, but I actually cannot remember the name.
No, it's not leather. It's
It,
a filter.
it's a paper,
Yeah.
and then it's got a thread attached to it. It's got a tag.
Thread. Okay. Yeah.
It's
Thread.
got a tag, and
Uh,
it's
and
got
the
a
tag. Yeah.
and it's got quantified amount of tea inside
Tea.
the
Correct. Done.
for a cup of tea.
Yes. So this is what I wanted to know. And in fact, many of you have gone into the purpose and the history and all those things also. Very nice. This is how your ideas actually come. So this is a tea bag with 4 elements. So from here, we will move ahead. Now, you know the 4 elements, right? There is a tea leaf, there is a filter. I'm not talking about the filter, but I will take you through the journey of the filter itself. So there is a tea bag, there is a filter, there is a thread, and the paper tag. Okay. Now here there's a disclaimer. I don't want to endorse any company. I am not doing that. It is just for educational purposes. So what do you see here? What do you see here? Anybody? Now that you know about the filter. So now what does it say about the filter or yeah, anybody? Can anybody read it out?
It's the material of the tea bag that is used. It says it is fiber tea bag with 100%
Plant-based
plant-based resources.
resources. Excellent. Thank you. Now, just for your information, somebody said the bag was made of leather, so it was not made of leather. The tea bag is made of fibers, and basically there are two kinds of fibers that go into the manufacture of that filter. One is plain plant-based filter, but the other one is a heat sealable compound, which is not natural. It is made up of food grade plastic. So the idea is to make the packet, make the fiber, make the filter heat sealable. Because why heat sealable? Because you have to dip the tea bag in hot water, and so it should not disintegrate or melt. So that is why that heat sealable product is uh, incorporated in the filter. Now that is very food grade plastic. It's quite harmful, and also it doesn't decompose. So somebody came up with this idea of having a tea bag paper which is made of 100% plant based source. So actually, a company did do research about it, and they had identified a natural fiber which doesn't need that heat sealable plastic. So what is that natural fiber? That is called a polylactic acid fiber, PLA. It is a thermoplastic polymer, meaning you can mold it in heat. And this thermoplastic polymer is derived from corn, maize. Okay, so this is that fiber that they had identified. Now I will take you through the journey of that particular fiber which is used in the tea bag and explain it at its different technology readiness levels. Okay. So the first step is the basic idea. So somebody came up with this idea that, the company, a team of people came up with the idea that we will be using 100% biodegradable fiber or a filter for our tea bag. So they carried out a basic research. Basic research is usually done on paper. Somebody here is doing a PhD also, so they would know how you carry out research. You read a lot of papers, journals, articles, books, and surf the internet, go into different databases, look for, the body of information that is available on that particular idea. Now, this is also facilitated by prior art. You can note down somewhere. Prior art would be very important. This is an existing body of knowledge that you have on that particular idea. So now you have this basic idea, you do the research, you understand this new material or process, meaning in this case, in the case of tea bag, you understand what does PLA mean. What does it mean? Where does it come from? Can it be manufactured on a higher level? And if manufactured, can it be supplied to you? Can you take it and can you develop it into fibers? Do you have that kind of facility with you, or do you need to hire a, give it, outsource it to somebody else? All those things. And what does the finished product look like, and can it be packaged into the way that you want it to be packaged? All those things you have to do in this stage. So essentially, this is a research phase. Okay. So after this, you have studied the material. Now you want to develop the concept further. You now say, okay, let me, let me look more specifically into the chemical and physical aspects, properties of this fiber. How long will it last? The hygiene aspects, and also in the case of tea bags, there is this. There are certain properties that is important to the filter, right? Should have, it should have that infusion capability. So when you put it in the water, the tea inside the bag will mix with the hot water and should be able to come out of that bag. The infusion brewability, how long you can keep in the hot water, and the hygiene aspect, and it has to have a neutral taste. It should be taste neutral also. It should not taste something weird, and it should not impart its own flavors into the water. So many dimensions are there, right? So you have to study all that from the existing literature, okay? And then you write a concept note on that filter. And so this is also at a research phase. The concept TRL2 is at the research phase, and you don't have an experimental proof of your idea, right? Of this particular tea bag. So at TRL3, you have to develop an experimental proof of the concept. So this is something which you do in a laboratory environment. It can be your kitchen also, it can be your garage also, it could be a spare room, you can go to a laboratory and give, you could do it on a payment basis also. You can do all these things. You have to now come up with the experimental proof of concept. At this stage, when you have that proof that yes, this fiber works, I'm talking about the fiber. Okay, so this fiber works and it can be used as a tea bag, in a tea bag. So this is that stage where you go to the lab, test it, put it in hot water, for example, and see, does taste the water and see that it doesn't impart any color to it or doesn't impart any taste to the water, and it doesn't disintegrate, such things. So then what is the results that you get out of it? So you establish the proof of concept of your idea. So here is the proof that my idea works, as desired. So this is called the TRL3 level. So now you have entered into the developmental stage. So this is all in a laboratory environment, not in the real environment. So there is a difference, right? Laboratory environment is something which is done at a small level, closed. There could be many things could go wrong, and you have to keep working to rectify those problems. So at TRL3 level, you have an experimental proof of concept in your hand that yes, my idea works. Here, in fact, many investors might be interested in this stage also. They get interested from such stages. Okay, so when you give a proof that yes, it works, then yes, some risk taker might be interested in taking up your idea at this stage. Okay, the next one is TRL4, where you give a laboratory demonstration. So earlier, what did you do? You established a proof of concept. You and your teammates, you just worked on the fiber, and you said that okay, this works. You established it. Now you have to demonstrate it to others. So you do some elaborate work on it, more research on it. You fill up the gaps, and then you give a demonstration in front of a few individuals. And also, there is another point here where you integrate the individual components, and you demonstrate that they are working together as a system. What does it mean? So in this step, what you will do is you'll take your filter made of 100% biodegradable plant-based material, and you put tea in it, tea inside it. You add the thread also and the label also, and then you demonstrate to everybody that this whole product is working. Now you have not innovated upon the thread, you have not innovated upon the label, you have not innovated upon the tea, but you have innovated on that fabric, on that particular filter. But you add all those extra things to make it a whole individual product, and then you demonstrate that it works. This is called laboratory demonstration, and this is also at the developmental stage. Okay, is it clear till now? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's move on to the next stage, which is TRL 5, which is called laboratory scale validation. So why do we need to validate? Now, in the previous step, you had shown, you had demonstrated that the whole product works as a whole. In TRL 3, you demonstrated that the filter works. In the next one, you demonstrated that the whole component works, the whole product of the tea bag works properly. Here, you have to demonstrate in TRL 5 at a laboratory stage the relevance and reliability of your product. So you have to go a step ahead, maybe invite more people. Essentially your technology is evolving from development to acceptance. People have to, you prepare good tea and then you serve them and see if they accept it or not. This is the fundamental thing if you take the example of the tea bag. Now here, it is done in a simulated environment in lab. You have not taken it to the outside market. It is still in the lab and it is at the developmental stage. But you have to establish the relevance and reliability of the tea bag. There might be comparisons also at this stage, and you will say, okay, what is the uniqueness about your product, and all those things will come out. And people have to accept it, then only it will go forward. Otherwise, you again go back to your drawing board. In each step, it happens actually, where you involve again the design thinking process. The sixth one is prototype demonstration. So now you have developed that tea bag using your own innovative filter paper. You create large scale proper working models, and then you go out and test it in the environment to your customers, to chai what tea stalls and such places where customers come, a variety of them come, and you test them. And here actually, this is, your product is engineered properly. In the previous labs, what you might have done is you must have taken that sheet and put the tea bag in it, make it into a little bag, and then you must have demonstrated it. But here you have to design the bag, and then you put tea, then you seal the bag properly, put that thread properly, heat sealing happens, so you have to understand all the associated technology, and then put that label and put a logo. So many things are there, for that tea bag. So this is that stage when you fabricate that product and you demonstrate it in front of the public or your customers. This is still at the development stage. The TRL level, capability validated on economic runs. The word is the capability validated and economic. So again, the same product, you take it to the real environment, which is the customers, and then you finalize the design, take the feedback of the customer. Sometimes, you might get feedback about the tea itself, Sometimes you might you get different kinds of feedback from the customers. You have to factor those in, and here at this point you have to do the costing because when you go to the customers, then you have to, you might try to sell them, and so you have to estimate the cost of manufacturing. So how do you do the costing? It's another exercise that you have to do. So what factors that you have to take into account when you do the costing of one bag, and then you extrapolate it to say 50 bags in a packet and 100 bags in a packet, or 200 bags. So the costing can include the cost of the raw materials that you have incurred, like for example, the tea, the thread, the logo, the label, and so many things, Then manufacturing costs, when you manufacture it in the factory. Then packaging costs. Packaging of the tea bag would be, like what? First of all, the packaging of the tea into that, using that filter. Second will be the packaging of the filters, each tea bag into one packet of different size, and then again, package it again into different bigger boxes, and then there are shipping costs, advertising costs, manpower costs, infrastructure costs, taxes, such things. So you factor in all those and costs and calculate the cost of each unit, and then you calculate the cost of each box or a packet. Okay, and then so at this stage you have entered the commercial stage. So an investor would know all these things, when they look at your product. So the eighth one is capability validated over a range of parts. Now, at this stage, your technology has been proven that yes, it works. Customers are using it, a small group of customers, and now you can scale it up at a commercial level. So this is over a period of time when you establish the stability of the technology or the manufacturing process. It is working fine over so many months. That is how you estimate the stability, and over a range of parts. Now, what is range of parts? Those parts of the tea bag, which is the tea, the filter, the thread, and the label. So all of them are working. Nothing is getting destroyed in the process. The thread has to be special. The logo, the label has to be, special. Like somebody said, this label was very attractive. The color was attractive. So there's so many things could be. You could put some literature, some poems, some photographs into that. So many different things you can do with that label. You establish all these things over a period of time, where you establish the stability of all the parts that are working properly. This is TRL 8, and this is at the commercial. Now you entered the commercial stage. In fact, you had entered the commercial stage at TRL 7. So TRL 7, TRL 8 are at the commercial stage. TRL 9 is the last stage, when your technology is ready for full deployment among the consumers, and your manufacturing capability is validated over full range of parts over long periods. So after a year or maybe a few months, 7-8 months, you start deploying your product, and this is at the commercial stage. So at this stage, all the risks that we had talked about is taken care of. Manufacturing risks, engineering risks, etc. are taken, not just at this level, but also at this level. When you're working, when you talk about stability of the technology, then you are eliminating the risks or the problems that you're facing in the manufacturing or engineering steps. Okay. Okay. So this is now TRL 9, where you have finally that tea bag is out in the market. Hope it's clear to all of you.
Ma'am, actually, I just want to ask you one doubt.
We'll take your doubt after this session. I just you write it down, and please ask me after.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Anybody, is it clear till this stage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody, if you have any questions, just write it down and ask me after this. Now here, this is for your information. Now, what I was talking about was the TRL levels provided by the Ministry of Education Innovation cell, but there are other TRL levels also developed by the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, BIRAC. So they have TRL levels on the healthcare, agriculture, industrial biotechnology, bioinformatics and software, and the associated sub areas. So you can go to that website, birac.nic.in, and read. They're nicely given all these levels. And also the MIC, the Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, they have not just given TRL for science and engineering, but also for software and medical sciences. So just you can go through all these resources. We can give you in the chat box also. I will have a look at it. So again, now coming back to that small exercise that we were doing, which is mapping, so that you know the interrelationship between all the concepts. In the first column, innovation development process, then the second design thinking step, you have gone through these two. Now I've tried to map the TRLs, technology readiness levels, with these steps. So idea generation, where you do basic research and concept development, and then TRL2, that concept development, experimentation, prototyping, and all these levels. At the laboratory level is the TRL 3, 4, 5. So when you come to commercialization, the 6, 7, 8 also, and diffusion and implementation, TRL 8 and 9. As I said, these are not rigid. These are you can, according to your thinking, you can assign TRL levels to different stages, but this is broadly what it should be. And believe me, assigning TRLs are not easy. It is not at all easy. And so when an investor comes and tries to look at your product, what questions would they have in mind when they are trying to assign a TRL rank? Because they are trying to understand your product, at what level it is at present, how many steps would be there, and how much work will go into, for you to get the final product into the market. So they have a lot of questions. So what kind of questions would somebody ask when they want to assign a TRL rank? Also, like the example of BIRAC that I gave you, when you submit your proposal to them for funding, they will also ask you a lot of questions. What are those questions broadly? There could be many questions, but just the list here for you. So is the technology widely commercialized? Have you commercialized your technology widely? Yes or no? Is the technology demonstrated in its final form, that is in the target system, that is in the environment, real environment among your customers? Have you demonstrated, have you shown them and got their feedback? So then in the field conditions, one thing is the final form, the final design, and with all the elements integrated. And the second one is the field conditions, means the real environment. Have you demonstrated in both the cases? So was the performance satisfactory? Was it efficient at the level of the technology and at the level of economy also? Was it serving your was it as you had desired? Are the returns according to your desire, economic returns according to your desires? And so what is the current level of performance of your innovation? So are there what is the infrastructure that is available for your deployment of your technology? Sometimes, for example, if you take tea, now you know the vending machines, right? They use powdered version of tea and milk and sugar. They'll have big, bags, and then for that they will need to have an infrastructure of the vending machines across the country or wherever they want to deploy. So they will not manufacture the vending machines but they will manufacture the bag of the tea, that formula. So their saleability will depend upon the availability of the vending machines. So such kind of situations may also come in certain areas. So they will ask about questions about such things. And the last one would be the barriers, or what are the risks? We have mentioned briefly about the risks. So what are the barriers that might stop you, impede you from having the best performance of your product? They might ask you these questions. So you should be ready with the answers, right? Okay, so now you know a lot about technology readiness level. So can you tell me how TRLs are useful? What is the use of TRL? Anybody? What is the use of TRLs?
Ma'am, that was my question actually. I just wanted to ask you that out only.
That was your?
The TRLs like TRL 1 to TRL 9 when we explain, it is more of I felt it is more relevant to a product. But when I talk about a service sector like mental health and all, how far it is relevant, the all TRLs?
Okay, so can anybody answer the question? What is the use of TRL?
Ma'am, it is basically the validation of your whatever the products and the service for the commercial level. I think that is the main things what every business or everyone looking for actually.
Right,
So that
exactly.
gives the idea about the impact and of overall the commercialization validation for that.
Yes.
What I think.
Yes.
And even it's also related to the product and as well as service as well actually. That's what I think.
True, true.
So that the different levels like 1 to 9 is required for a validation.
Yes, yes. Be it product or be it services. All right.
Okay, I don't know. My doubt is still there. I'm not clear with the answer.
You ask me again after this. Okay. Okay. You are asking that is the TRL applicable for services as well, right? That is what you.
Technology, what I'm asking is, ma'am, like TRL is applicable for service to certain level, of course. But when we explain the all levels of TRLs from 1 to 9 and we commercialize it at the last stage, in what way it is relevant for a health service? For example, for a counselor, I am a counselor. I want to give my counseling session to the society. So what way this all levels of TRL is applicable for me? Maybe one or two for the validation, as one of my colleague told. I am agree with that. But what way the all levels? How can I define the different levels to my service?
Okay, so you have the list of the 9 TRLs with you right now?
No, no. Like whatever you
No, the
explained,
one,
ma'am. That was my doubt.
the one that I showed you. Have you noted it down somewhere?
Yeah, I have noted it in my pad, ma'am. Like
okay. Wait with that.
yeah.
Okay. So coming to the answer, what are the uses of TRL? TRLs play a very, very important role. Imagine NASA developing it for understanding the maturity levels of the technology of spacecraft design. Just imagine that scenario. It is coming from there. You can imagine the high-tech environment that has produced this TRL levels. Now, what does it do for an innovator or an investor or a management of the company? So these three people, the investor, the innovator first, then the management and the investor. These three, innovator, management and investor, they gain a lot of information from the TRL levels that your product is in. They will understand when you go to your management with your innovation, they will ask you at what stage is it? Why would they take it up? What are the risks associated? Similarly, the investors will ask you at what level it is. They won't ask you, they will know it from the description, and they will gauge it, they will evaluate it, and they will ask you many questions based on the TRL, like There can be n number of questions: at what stage it is, when do you want to scale it up, what are the methods that you're going to do to scale it up, what would be the economic returns, what would be the profits, what would be the risks, and such things. So gives a lot of information to the innovators, the management, and the investors. What does it give to the innovator? It gives when you look at the description and definition of the TRL, they give you the insight to plan the next stages. So you are at TRL 4 because the description matches your product or service, and then you have to plan for the next stage, TRL 5. So when you go to the TRL 5, what are the expectations from you so that you stay in TRL 5 and then move on to TRL 6? It gives you an idea. And for the management, they look at the development. They want to, if they want to, the technology managers would want to know how to transition the technology, in companies. So that will be helpful. They can also commercialize the technology at one point of time. Yesterday, Dr. Sharma had taken a session on that. Even the innovator can commercialize their technology at a certain point of time, either through investors or they can sell it also. There's so many ways you can commercialize your technology, but then for that you have to be able to understand where you stand. So for the investors, of course, as I told you, they estimate the maturity level of the technology and then they invest. They decide either to invest or not. So they are useful for the innovators, managers, and also the investors. Now there is a phrase rather, called the valley of death. Just for your information, value of death is like, so there are TRL levels 1 to 4, and most of the universities take up to this level, take an idea to TRL 4, from 1 to 4. They deal with that. And beyond that, from 5, 6 to 9, it is the industry that takes up those levels. Now, between 4 and 5 is what is known as the valley of death, because at this stage, when the transition is happening, if proper care is not taken at that stage, then the idea may die off. Okay, so these are some information that you might like to know. Okay, now let us do a quick assessment before I finish my talk. You're ready for that? Anyone? Ready for a test?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here is the test. Read it carefully. A team of bright students developed a new synthetic rubber and built a prototype of a car tire with it. This tire has undergone several all-inclusive lab tests, and the performance test results of the tire are excellent. What TRL level would you assign to this stage of technology? TRL 2, TRL 4, TRL 6, or TRL 8? Just think about for a minute and then answer.
Can I?
Yeah.
As per me, it's a TRL 6.
TRL 6.
Yeah, because it's a prototype demonstration already done and it's validation over there.
Okay.
So I think it's a TRL 6.
Okay. Anybody else?
Ma'am, I think
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it is TRL 4.
Okay, TRL 4. So why TRL 4?
Because still it is actually not moved into that production stage, or you can say the commercialized production stage. You can say, what I mean to say is in a commercialized way. ready to implement into the market even at the initial stage.
So you mean to say that TRL 8 is or 6 is market stage?
TRL 8 means what I want to say is it is actually implemented and in the testing stage. Even after implementation also there will be a you can say a follow up, you can say, or you can say the testing whether the performance is up to the expectation or not. I'm talking about that stage. So I
TRL 4 you're saying, okay. Anybody else? Somebody was just speaking. Yeah.
I think it's TRL 6 होना चाहिए because as अभी बताया जैसे कि TRL 8 तो स्टेज हो गया, you have been gone all the through stages और वो मार्केट में आने के लिए आपको प्रोडक्ट रेडी है। तो TRL 6 में आपके पास वो सारे रिजल्ट्स आ जाते हैं कि आपने इनोवेशन जो किया है और आपका सब लैब टेस्ट्स वगैरह सब कुछ ठीक आया है एंड इट्स इन परफॉर्मेंस इन एक्सीलेंट स्टेज पर है आपका। तो TRL 8 में आई थिंक कि आप मार्केट में लाने की तैयारी कर रहे हैं उसको, उससे पहले आई थिंक ये TRL 6 होना चाहिए कि आपके प्रोडक्ट्स की जो भी रिजल्ट्स हैं वो सब सेटिस्फैक्ट्री है एंड यू गॉट द fruitfulness of the whatever you were trying to do.
Okay. Anybody else would like to try?
Yes, ma'am. TRL 6, laboratory demonstrations. I think they have done the wonderful job after passing TRLs 2 and 4. So TRL 6 means they have done it excellently and they have passed the process. Now what remains for them is to expand the idea, is to have a standard company where they can be able to sell their product and develop it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? What happened? समझ में आया बाकियों को? If I take an
Yes,
examination, then what should I expect? अभी तो I think there are only 5 or 6 people have answered.
Actually, what I think is it is TRL 6 where it is mentioned.
Okay. भाई आप लोग बहुत स्लो हो, क्या हो गया? Innovators are not
All
very
exclusive
slow.
lab tests and performance test results of the tire are excellent. That means that they are providing the stage, they are showing the stage of the product is prototype demonstration.
Okay, I'll take that. So those who have said TRL 6 are absolutely right. The keywords here are the prototype and all-inclusive lab tests. I need not say more than that. So it is TRL 6 because the prototype is tested in the lab and it has passed the test. Okay. So that's the end of today's talk. And now